Welcome to Lecture 1 on the topic An Introduction to Food Production in a Changing World. This lecture is part of the subject Food Production in a Changing World, which is a component of the Bachelor of Agriculture and Technology, a degree that is offered at both North Melbourne Institute of TAFE and Melbourne Polytechnic. Please visit our website at www.nmit.edu.au for further information on this course and other courses that we offer. This subject is taught by both Dr. Doug Rao and myself, Dr. Nikki Cooley. In Lecture 1 today, I'll be giving an overview of the subject aims and description, the student learning outcomes, the modes of delivery that we offer, some descriptions, and I'd like you to think about one of the assessments starting from today. Referencing, support the statement that you make, how important this will be through this subject. Resources, what you will need to obtain to complete this subject successfully. And staff contact and details for your convenience. This subject explores human food production, its current and future challenges from both the Australian and the global perspectives. Students will develop a comprehensive understanding of the evolution of human food production and the key factors driving change in food production systems. Contemporary food production drivers such as global population dynamics, advances in knowledge and technology, and globalizations of markets will be explored among other topics in this subject. Issues of change and sustainability in global food production systems will also be studied, and we will consider concepts such as population growth, food security, climate change, agro-ecosystem resilience. The practical outcomes of these concepts will be explored at both local and global contexts. In this subject, 4 student learning outcomes will be covered. Describe and explain the historical evolution of food production and the key factors driving change in food production systems. The second is to research and discuss drivers of change of contemporary food production systems, including global population dynamics, advances in knowledge and technology, and globalization of markets. Number 3 will enable investigation into the issues of change and sustainability in global food production systems. This includes, most importantly, population growth, food security, climate change impacts, and agro-ecosystem resilience. And the final student learning outcome for this subject is to be able to describe the Australian perspective in the face of changing global food production mechanisms. This subject will be taught in accordance to scientific principles and will be evidence-based. You must take this on board. All assessments throughout this subject will require evidence for any statement you make or any fact you make. Students really struggle with this and they lose marks unnecessarily, so please listen closely. All students will be required to use both in-text referencing and a reference section for each assessment. As I said, failure to do so will result in a deduction of marks. There is a correct way and many incorrect ways to reference facts and statements. I have spent some time in this lecture giving you some examples. Rule number 1, if you make a statement, present a fact, or repeat information, you must support this with 1, an in-text reference, and 2, the full literature at the end of your assessment. Rule number 2, you must do this with every single statement, sentence, reference you make. Therefore, your work theoretically should be scattered with references. It's not adequate enough to put 1 reference at the end of a paragraph, even if that reference does pertain to every single statement in that paragraph. It is pure laziness on the writer's behalf, and you leave the reader of the work to make that leap. It is very important that you support any claim that you make with a reference. Too often in modern day society, we don't understand where the information that we have comes from. If you're making important agricultural decisions and you don't understand where the references come from, then how do you know that the reference is indeed accurate and correct. This is hard work, students. It will take you more time and you will find it frustrating, but it is a component of the scientific discipline that you need to get on board with. If you're on board with it, it will make not only your studies here easier, but it will also aid you in every aspect of your life. I've given you an example of how referencing can work successfully. In this example, the following text, which is in italics, has been directly copied from a textbook. You want to use this statement in your assessment. You need to write this in your own words and put a text reference to support the statement. For example, the literature states not many corporations on Earth processes the financial resources and the technical capabilities to deliver tonnages of pepperoni tailored to the demands of Domino's pizzas. You may rewrite as one driver of food production is a provider's capabilities. This is evidence in the case of the suppliers of Domino's pizzas, where considerable financial resources and technical capabilities are required. You see, I have written the author's surname and the year after this. If there is more than one author, you put the author's surname and then the abbreviated italics et space al dot. This is how you correctly in-text reference. To complete your accurate referencing, you will need to then include a reference section at the end of your assessment, where you list the full reference. For example, you make sure you list the author or all of the authors or editors in a book, the year, the title, the journal name, page number, and journal number, or you put the publisher's detail. You have to ensure that the references that you use are also credible. That is, that they are references that you can and should be using in your text. A statement off a blog, for example, or Wikipedia, where they're not peer-reviewed, isn't always a very good reference to support your statements. Where possible, you need to source all information from the original source. For example, the reference I've given on the screen is a link to a Nature paper. Don't put in the URL link, please put in the details of the author and the paper. It is the author that has written the paper, and the URL is just a way of finding this information. Please refer to the student subject outline. This has many pieces of information that are essential to your successful study of this subject, including rubrics where applicable for the assessments. They will give you guidelines for marks to be gained and where marks will be lost. Literature associated with this subject can come as either recommended or essential. Where literature is provided as essential, you must read its contents, as it's a requirement for knowledge in this subject. Where it is recommended, it either may help you in understanding a particular topic or take the depth of knowledge in this topic further. You will need internet access to complete this subject, and a download capacity that enables you to either watch YouTube videos if you're learning this via the flexible delivery mode, and or download PDFs from the Moodle site where required. Now, this bit of information is absolutely essential. You need to check regularly on Moodle. All subject communications will occur via Moodle website. I don't accept it as an excuse once you're on the site that you didn't get the information because you didn't go into Moodle regularly. It is your responsibility to check both Moodle and your NMIT emails. If you set up a forwarding personal email address on Moodle, which you can do by the way, then if that address becomes corrupted or messages aren't forwarded through technical issues, which unfortunately does occur periodically, the lack of information is still your responsibility. So therefore, just maybe once a week touch base with Moodle and just check that you're getting all the information that you require to complete this subject. The subject coordinator for this subject is Dr. Dog Rao. He prefers email communication, but you may also find him on the phone number 92691166. My name is Dr. Nikki Cooley. I too prefer email communication, and my email address is on the slide. I can also be contacted on 92691692. If I'm not in the office, please leave a message. I hope you enjoy learning about food production in a changing world. This brings us to the end of this lecture.